Greetings everyone, how's everybody doing then? So thought we'll do, while it's cold and miserable and very frost has gone now and things are looking pretty good out here, so why not come out and do a bit of work, but not the work I was planning for today. So one of the cars one of the fleet has been for an MOT today and failed. Right, oh well, so it's definitely not the black one that's been, certainly not Mrs. Wynne, because I wanted to do some work on Mrs. Wynne and now I can't. Oh dear. And it's not the white one either. The white Ambassador is absolutely fine. She's good. She's good. So it must be the Jag. Actually, no, it isn't. It's the sizzling Cee'd. It's failed its MOT on brakes. We seem to have a binding brake caliper on the front, which is a bit of a shame because it's normally sails quite through, and I've also put down an advisory that the rear pads are a bit low. So that's it, this is my day's work for today. The Cee'd is an absolutely cracking car, it really is. It's a very busy dashboard and steering wheel, there's loads going on there, but it's a real good car. I mean, we've had this car since it was 3 years old, I think. It was a high mileage car, but it was cheap, and in the 5 years that we've owned this car, we've not really spent anything on it. It's just been one of them cars that you just get in and go. So I've ordered some, I've got my brake pads, and I've also got some front discs, and obviously I'll need to strip a caliper down. So stay tuned. As you can see, I've made a start. We've got our wheel off, got our caliper off, we've got the piston wound all the way back, and yeah, I think it's fair to say that them were just about had it, and fair play to the people that do my MOTs for flagging this up. So I mean, because my wife won't tell me that there's something wrong until something's making a horrible noise or fallen off. So I'm pretty glad that they've pulled it up about it, so it's worth doing. I'm going to show you a little trick. Hang on a minute. On most rear calipers now, they need the piston needs to be wound back. So as you can see, I've got a nice big clamp forcing some pressure, not too much, but just forcing some pressure onto the piston there. And then, although I've already wound this one back, I'll just try and do this two-handed, right? All you do then is get some grips onto the end of the piston and wind it back in nice and slowly. Quite easy. Obviously be careful not to damage the gaiter there. You don't want to damage that and have any water getting in, but yeah, that's one of the ways I do it. You can either do it with a G-clamp or something like that, just to make sure you can get some pressure on there. I obviously use me these type of grips on this one. Other way you can do it is with an angle grinder key. Obviously this is quite a small piston on here, but on bigger pistons you can get your angle grinder key and wind it in that way, if you haven't got the proper brake tool. I do have one lying about somewhere, but I can't find it. That's just typical me. So anyway, let's get these new pads on, we'll get the other side done, and then we'll make a start on the front. Why am I doing this? Right, these have got the sliding caliper. It's a single piston with a sliding caliper. Before you put it all back together, you need to make sure that these are sliding and they're nice and free. The grease can't really come out, it doesn't do anything, it doesn't go anywhere. It does go a little bit stiff, and a train goes past. Crying out loud. So all I do is, if they feel nicely greased, just give them a spin and push them in and out. So all you're doing there is just redistributing the grease and making sure obviously that they're not seized and there's no sticky bits. I think, yeah. Let's just check the other one. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So there we go. We've got a little bit of copper slip on the pads just to stop everything sticking on the caliper there and keeping the water at bay, and a little bit of, it does stop them squeaking a little bit as well. Even though they've got anti-squeak pads on them now, sometimes they still don't work, so a little bit of grease sorts that out. So let's get this put back together, get the wheel on, and let's do the other side. Interestingly enough, there are some new caliper bolts in with this pack of brake pads. I'm not going to use them. They just look crap. I mean, they're a 10.9. What is it? No, Rockwell. That's it, Rockwell. They're a 10.9, but them look a bit crap compared to the originals, and the originals are pretty good. So I think I'm just going to put a little bit of focus, little bit of new Loctite on there, I think, and I'm going to reuse these because these are the genuine Kia ones, and they look much better than this. Looks like something you get in a Meccano set. Them look crap. I ain't using them. And don't forget, if your car has got alloys, just add a little smear of copper slip or anti-seize compound, whatever you want to call it, just to where the wheel meets the disc or the drum, the hub, because you know what happens with aluminium and steel or iron. When they corrode, they basically weld themselves together pretty good. So yes, just worth cleaning off any old crap that's on there, and just literally just a tiny smear. You don't need to cake it on, you don't need to go overboard, just a little bit, and if there's too much, just wipe it off. There, so that's driver's side now done. So let's bang this wheel on and then we'll start on the front. So here we are by torchlight, I'm afraid, and as you can see, it's looking a little bit rusty in there. The seal looks okay. I think there's just a build-up of rust this outside of the seal, and by the looks of it, it's been gripping on the piston. Where did I put the piston? Oh yeah, I've put the piston up here. As you can see, there is some rust on it. Now if I can just do that, but it's all pretty shiny. I'm not sure how much of this we're seeing on camera, but it's all pretty shiny, and all the rusty stuff is this side of the seal, which is the outside. So it looks like it's been binding up. It does look a little bit scored there, so I'm going to have to polish that off anyway, otherwise that really is going to knacker the seal up. And you can see where there's a little bit there. It's just the light's a bit rubbish. I do apologise, but needs must. It has picked up a little bit there, so whether that's a little bit of seal on there or whether the chrome's starting to go, I don't know. I'll have to have a look under better light. So obviously I'm going to clean all this up, and if I need to order a seal kit, I'll order a seal kit. But it hasn't been leaking, so hopefully it's just a little bit of debris got in there and just binded everything up a little bit, and well, we'll see. So I've picked out the seals. I don't know if you can see here this lovely line of red rusty stuff. Beautiful. So this groove here is where the outer dust seal sits, and as you can see, it actually sits in that way like that. And as you can see at the back there's a bit of rust got on that, which is not good. So basically just water's got in behind this dust seal and settled in the bottom of the caliper there, and made its way through and bypassed the main seal. That sits in, the main seal sits in this groove here, and looking at it, it doesn't look too bad. I think it may be savable. Obviously you can see there's plenty of rusty stuff where the seal sits in that way, so obviously it proves the point that the outer seal has, or gaiter, as whatever you want to call it, has been letting a bit of water in there. So I suppose once it does start to get in there and starts to go rusty, it'll always find its way in. So it'll just be a case of cleaning this up and cleaning the caliper up, obviously. That's going to be fun. Gonna have to be a wire brushy type thing on a wheel, a small one. Clean that up, see how good the seal is, and bang it all back together. So I'm just going to clean the piston up. I'm just going to make sure that it is this bit of rust that's causing the problem there. I mean, it was fairly easy to come out once I'd slackened it up, loosened it off a little bit with a bit of jiggery pokery. So yeah, stay tuned. So as I suspected, I mean, I've basically just put the piston in and I can't push it in at all. It's bound up and it won't allow me to slide the piston in at all. And I haven't cleaned it up yet, but basically the piston has been grabbing on this bit of rust here that's built up, so we'll have to clean that up before we go any further, and we'll take it from there. All good fun. And with the miracle of time and emery cloth, there we have a nice sliding piston now. That's better. So all it basically were was just a little bit of that little build-up of rust in between the outer dust seal and the main seal inside. So I'm going to do a bit more cleaning up, because I need to obviously clean the groove in there, because basically I don't want no water getting back in. So it'll be a case of scraping this out and getting some emery cloth in there and cleaning it all up. So I've just had the call to say my tea's done, so I think I'm going to go and eat that. I might come back a bit later on. If not, I don't know. Pause. So I didn't bother coming out last night. All I did was to clean it up, put the seals in, because I had my tea and I just thought I can't be bothered to go back out and do it anymore. So I've actually just bought this in the house, cleaned it up and put everything together. So you can see we've got a nice easily sliding piston now. Wonderful. There we go, she's ready to go back on, and we'll see you outside in a bit. So that's the caliper back in place, pedals all pumped up. Obviously I just need to bleed the brakes because I've had all the caliper off, but the I've unscrewed it anyway and allowed the fluid to find its own way through and force the air out. And as you can see, that's dripping out nicely. So I won't assume there's no air in it, so when I've got my beautiful assistant available, who's cooking me breakfast right now because it's the next day, when she's available, we'll just come out and we'll just bleed these up. I might as well do the other side and the back ones as well while I'm at it. Make sure we've got no air in the system, and hopefully we're good to go. But there is one more things that I need to source. Let me just pause this for a sec. The other thing that was picked up on the MOT is this LED side repeater. At some point the the external cover's got broken, whether it's been hit by something, and obviously now water's got in there, and now it's decided it doesn't want to work anymore. So that's why they picked that up on the MOT, and rightly so, because there are no side repeaters, and you know what they're like with lights and stuff. If they're not working, they'll fail it. The downside is it's a complete mirror. I don't think, I've had a look on Tinternet last night, and I don't think there's anything available just to replace the LED, which is a bit crap. But there you go, that's modern cars for you. I mean, why put a light in a mirror, for crying out loud? I mean, these days now they've got sensors and everything, and a little light there to tell you that there's somebody in your mirror or in your blind spot. I think it's overcomplicating things like a door mirror. Why just, why just drill a hole, put a bulb there? It's, you know what I mean? It's crazy, I think, and I think they're just way overcomplicating cars. And I think it's taking out the skill of driving. I mean, I was taught old school, you had to wind your window down to adjust the mirror, and once you got it set, you left it alone, and the only time you'd move it was, if somebody knocked it or whatever. But when you're coming to overtake or change lanes, the first thing that we do, as old school drivers, and especially being a motorcyclist, we're taught what's called the lifesaver, which is to look over your shoulder. And that, I think all these sensors and cameras and everything else and little lights to tell you that there's somebody there, I think is just taking out this skill that should never be taken away. I mean, all right, there's a light there to say there's somebody there, but how do you know how close it is unless you actually look? And I think this is where cars are going in the totally wrong direction as far as I'm concerned. I mean, this car's got everything you'd want in terms of luxuries. You've got your electric windows, you've got your adjustable steering, what's the word for it, as to how tight you want your steering, whether you want it, really tight sports car type or really easy for parking. It's an unnecessary item, I think. It's you know what I mean, it's just more stuff to go wrong. Power fold mirrors, all right, yeah, they're a good idea till you come to unlock your car when it's been raining and it's frozen over. All of a sudden your mirrors don't work and everything's plastic in there, and they don't work. Something's broke inside the mirror because again, an unnecessary bit of kit there they're designed to go wrong as far as I'm concerned. We've also got the big center screen there. The infotainment thing is also your reversing camera. Yeah, it's very good, but the trouble is with a reversing camera is that now most people don't bloody look behind them. They're just constantly watching the screen. And, there could be a kid running from the side that you've not seen and not looked for. An old lady that's slowly moving past your car, and because the camera doesn't pick her up because she's at the side, you ran over her foot. It's all wrong, I'm having a whinge. Anyway, yeah, it's a 1.6 diesel, 6-speed gearbox. It's powerful enough, goes really well. On the whole, I think it's a very good car. If you was to cover up that badge, you wouldn't really care who made this car. You really wouldn't. But because it's a Kia and we laughed at them in the 90s when they come over, I think they've come a long way. I think they're absolutely brilliant. And you look around this car, it's a 13 plate, so it's a 2013 car. And you look at things under here, I mean, there's no rust on them springs or anything, the surface dust, but you look how clean everything is under it, and it doesn't get that much in the way of attention because it doesn't need it, to be fair. Yeah, you've not got a cam belt to worry about. It's a chain driven engine. It's now done 140 something thousand miles, and it still feels like a brand new car. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for these. I'll really rate them. There's going to be people that is going to laugh, say no, I should have a BMW or an Audi because they're better. In my opinion, no, they're not. They're a car the same as everything else, and they're just more expensive when they do go wrong, because you have to buy their parts, or the parts for them are more expensive. That's just my opinion. So yeah, anyway, right, so I'm going to go have my bacon sarnie now, and then I'll get the wife to come out, my beautiful assistant, and we'll bleed these brakes. We'll get the wheel put back on, and we'll go to the next stage. Now that's magic. Here's my beautiful assistant, Sally. Say hello, Sally.
Hello.
Right then, when you when you're ready, then if you can pump the pedal 3 times for me and hold on the 3rd, push it all the way down. Right, thanks. So that's the Kia Cee'd all put back together for the time being. Just took her for a spin. The ABS light and the traction controlled light went out on their own accord. I think that was obviously because I'd got the ignition switched on when I was doing something on the one wheel there. So I've obviously confused the system and put a fault on there. But taking it for a spin, yep, she's all good. The light went out literally as I got round the corner, backed it off the drive, and as I started to drive away, the lights went out. So that's good. I haven't got to mess around with anything else there on the brakes. They pull up nice and even. Obviously it's got ABS, so I can get the ABS to work if I really give it the beans and stand on the brakes like an emergency stop. So yep, all that's functioning correctly and as it should. So when we've got the mirror sorted, she can go back in and have a retest. So I've got every confidence she'll go through without any more problems. So yeah, something a bit different. So that's the wife's Cee'd all sorted on the brakes. So that draws this video to a close for the time being. Obviously we still need to keep stuff moving on the channel because you know, Ricky's like. So yeah, there'll be something coming again very soon. So I'm going to bid you toodle pip for a bit. I think I've got Ricky coming round later on today actually with some Allegro bits. I wonder if we get that on video, more than likely. So right, from me, that's it for now. Take care everyone, stay safe and all that. Take care of each other and yourselves. See you later. Bye. Take friggin' 2. Goodness sake. Okay. Oh. Piddle stick. Oh. Oh, nuts. No. Oh, here we go. I ain't editing this out. We can do it. Oh, for fuck's sake. And as I God, I'm too tired for this crap. And there we have it. That's the caliper. Here we go.